We're going to dive right into the next session, which we have entitled Finding and Maintaining Balance. And balance is a big word of the day. Everyone say balance. Balance is critical for overall health and peace. Without balance, you will be in ill health and you'll be without peace. When we talk about balance, we have to understand the concept of stress. Stress plays a major role there, and handling stress and the stressors of life is at the centerpiece of this idea and this concept of balance.
So when one has a chronic illness, one simply doesn't just get well soon. So we really have to evaluate what knocks us off balance, what gets us out of control, what gets our systems stressed and tired, wired, aggressive, slow, or sluggish. You have to ask yourself, do you experience the stress response with mood changes or anxiety, depression, fatigue? Do you find yourself overly tired, or are you wired and you can't sleep or go to bed? Perhaps stress is at the root of the problem, and we've got to find how to get back in balance.
So when we talk about stress, it account for 75 to 90% of all primary care visits. Almost all of these illnesses that we talk about in life have a stress relation component. When things go dysfunctional in our life, we get aggravation by stress, we get exacerbation by stress, or even causes stress. So stress becomes this big, crazy circle of stuff that we can't even define. If we were to go around the room and say, what is stress? And I've done this before, we would get probably 55 or 60 different answers of what stress is. And then I would say, well, is stress a noun or a verb? And it's hard to say, because stress really in our minds is the body's response or our response to life's expected or unexpected occurrences. Which if you look at it like that, if it's our response, it becomes more of a verb than a noun. When it's a noun, it takes control over us. When it takes on the verb form, we take control over it. So we really need to look at stress a different way. But we know that stress is linked to 6 of the leading causes of death. We're talking heart disease, cancers, lung ailments, even accidents, cirrhosis, and even suicide. Is stress a component of all those? Can we agree with that? Of course it is. It's the number one reason why. And I'm not saying it's a justification, but it is a real deal. When we are overstressed or out just completely past our load, we're going to eat poorly. We're going to have a bad attitude. We're going to have unhealthy lifestyle, whatever that would mean. And sometimes people can progress all the way to substance abuse. Stress can overtake you and overwhelm you and overcome you. We have to know what it is, why it is, and how to fix it, because it will get us out of balance.
So we need to learn how to manage our unique stress response, because the effect of excessive stress can cause hormone havoc on your body and increase illness and the risk for chronic disease. You know, the stress cycle throws out of balance so many different things. And stress in today's day, it's so dangerous. You know, people are driving faster than ever. We don't even drive the speed limit anymore. You know, our IT systems, we're working faster than ever. Then we don't even take a breath to have lunch. You know, our contemporary stress tends to be more pervasive, persistent, and insidious. It stems from a psychological problem, really, more than it did a physical stressor back in the day. We're not running from lions and tigers and bears. We're pressed to work harder, do more, press in, raise our families, raise our kids, and be on all of the time. So the stress response becomes this immediate ingrained trigger that's in our system, causing things to go awry. Things like heart rate. When you get stressed, your heart rate goes up. Heart rate goes up, and what follows? Blood pressure. Blood pressure goes up to improve or increase the flow of blood to the brain. Do you think that's a problem if stress becomes chronic? Blood sugars go up in response to stress. Your body thinks that it's running from a lion or tiger or bear. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in an office stressed. It still thinks that it is a physical thing. It's acting in a physical nature. So our blood sugars can go up even though we're not eating food or fuel. because our bodies are breaking down glycogen and muscle to try to run from that bear. So stress can cause diabetes or metabolic syndrome if it's chronic. Blood is also shunted away from our digestive tracts. So does it make sense to eat when we're under stress? If blood is actually going to the brain, it's trying to go to our muscles so that we can flee, fight, or run from the stressor. We're not going to digest very well if we're eating under stress. And then oftentimes when we're eating under stress, we eat fast and quickly, and our stomach doesn't have any teeth, so we've put our digestive system under more stress because we're not chewing our food when we're eating stress. Our body becomes subject to blood clotting so that it can heal a laceration or an injury quickly if something were to happen while we're under stress. Muscle tension goes up. Fibromyalgia, tension headaches, all can be started from stress. And these chronic indicators of stress, heart rate, blood pressure, blood sugar, muscle tension, do we ever stop and abate what the cause is? Or do we go to the doctor for a blood pressure medication, one that slows down our heart rate? Do we go to the doctor for something for blood sugar instead of changing what is at the root of the problem? How about a muscle relaxer or a migraine headache medication when we've got too much tension? These things that are chronic stressors are driving us to do things that really are not in line with nature. And what we really need to do is stop, slow down, evaluate the stressors, and come face to face with our own personal stress response and how to fix it.